Hi there. Hi, you guys. We are in week 2 of boot camp. Yes, we are in week 2 already. And already you guys have a lot of work that you've already done and a lot of work to do. So you got your second lesson already. So hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at the lesson. Hopefully you've had a chance to read it. And hopefully you've had a chance to start working on your learning objectives, because as you're going to learn, your learning objectives are really, really key. Number one, they're going to tell your learner right off the bat what they can expect to get out of your class. And that's really, really important, because it's important for a few reasons, and we're gonna get into more detail about that. But just keep in mind that this conference call is really for you. It's your opportunity to ask questions as you're working through your project. We can get together as a group. If there's anything that you want me to see or review, we can do that. This is really, really your time. In addition, I'd like to be able to just sort of put some context around some of the concepts that you're learning, and hopefully answer any questions that you have about that. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into the learning objectives, because they're really, really important. So Lynette, have you had a chance to take a look at the lesson at all, or?
No, just a little bit. I didn't really get to delve into it because of my travel. I'm sorry.
Right. No. I totally get it. So, all right. So I'm going to go through it in detail. So if you're catching this on the replay, of course, you can't ask me questions right now, but that's okay. Just send me any questions that you have. Make sure that you have already scheduled us for our one-on-ones, so that you can ask me questions. Just write them down as we come across them, okay? Because I definitely want you guys to get your learning objectives together, because pretty soon, like this week, we're going to start learning how to chunk information. So you have to get through this first part first. You have to get through your learning objectives to know what you want your learners to know before we get to the chunking part, right? So hopefully you get a chance to do that real soon. So let's go over the lesson just to make sure that you're clear. So I am going to share my screen so that we can all kind of look at it together. All right, so I am sharing my screen now, and we'll go over that in just a second. The first thing I want to just really review is the lesson for lesson number 2, right? So just understanding that you are formulating your PowerPoint presentation. Hopefully you are looking at it from a holistic standpoint. You're looking at your graphics and your design, as well as your content. You've started gathering your content. You started thinking about what's relevant, what's not relevant. You started looking at your graphics, what makes sense to put. Hi, Ayana. Welcome to our conference call tonight. You are right on time. Oh, you're in your car. Be careful.
Yep. Did you tell her? Yeah, I am.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
So, you can see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay.
So we're just kind of going a little review about where you are, kind of where you should be at this point, right? So you should have gathered your content, figured out where you're a little bit, where you need more content, where you need maybe a little less content in some areas. But we're not so much dealing with the content now. I just wanted you to gather it together, right? And so you should also be looking at your graphics at this point. You should be thinking about your design at this point from the mind map that we did last week in our one-on-one calls. So hopefully you have taken your ideas and you've already started putting them, transferring them into a PowerPoint if you didn't already have one, okay? Mm-hmm. So here we are starting to work through the template items, right? From the download that I gave you last week for what you should be including in your class, right? So you definitely want to include learning objectives, which is why I put it number 2, because if you don't know what you're going to teach your your students, your participants. Hi, Jen, welcome. Hey there. So if you don't know what you're teaching your learners, your students, then you can't really, you can't drive your class, right? You have to know where you're going in order to drive it. You have to know where you're going so that you know where you're taking your learners, right? And they want to know where they're going, right? You wouldn't just get in a car without knowing where you're going, right? So the learning objective says we're going to stop here, we're going to stop here, here, and here, right? Okay,
Right.
so what I did here is in the lesson is I gave you some examples of learning examples and of learning objectives that, for example, you might want to include in a class on diplomacy. We're going to learn this, define communication, differentiate between effective and ineffective communication. So you can just kind of go down that list, right?
Right.
So the thing I want to really kind of drive home is that your course should not contain more than 3 to 5 objectives, okay? 3 to 5 objectives at most, okay? You should not be, you shouldn't have like 10 objectives. You shouldn't have 6 objectives, 7 objectives. It's just too many, right? So 3 to 5 is a really good number. And if you find yourself that you feel like you just really need 6 or 7, that's when you need to really kind of get with me, because we might need to break up your course. We might need to break it up, break it down, make sure that all those pieces are really relevant. But if you've really taken the time to look at what do I want my learners to know, you really shouldn't have more than 3 to 5 things that you want them to learn in your one course. Okay? Questions about that? Questions, comments? Has anybody started working on that piece? Is everybody okay with that?
I have 4 parts in my course.
Mm-hmm.
And so each part I had like objectives. So I'm trying to think, how would I do that?
Okay.
Like, is it overall objectives or?
Okay. So you have one course that is broken up into 4 different parts. So your case is a little bit different. So for each one of those mini courses, there should be 3 to 5 objectives. 3 to 5 objectives. 3 to 5. Think of each one as a mini course.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to break that down in a little bit more detail in just a moment. But I did want to, excuse me, I did want to pull up the download that I gave you all to accompany this course. Excuse me, you guys, I'm still suffering with these allergies, right, Lynette?
Yeah.
All right, so this is the download that I included in the course. I mean, in this particular lesson. And it's a cheat sheet for your learning objectives. All right, so hopefully you guys can see that. So I wanted to go over this in a little bit of detail because I want you all to understand how to use them, so that when you start working on this course or your next course, you can refer back to this. This is a great cheat sheet, okay? So let's go through each one of the categories. So knowledge, right? These are the action words, right? These are the action words that will tell your learners how they will learn the skill that they are learning, right? It's going to tell them, the learning objective is going to tell them what they're going to learn. And it's also going to tell them how they're going to demonstrate, right, their knowledge of the subject, right? So you have to know where you want them to go, okay? So if what you want them to know is, if the way they'll demonstrate that they know it, right, is by knowledge, here are some action words underneath knowledge that are the actions behind the measurement. So these are, so for example, if I'm teaching a class on how to, I'll use one of you guys' classes, for example, right? So Jennifer is teaching grant writing, right? So if I'm teaching, so Jennifer's teaching grant writing, and she wants them, there's things that she wants them to know in order to demonstrate that they understand the topic. These words are examples of words that she can use, right? So you'll be able to, for example, define grant writing, you know, or visualize your program, okay? Maybe, Lynette, for you, you know, the knowledge that you want them to learn, the action behind it is they will be able to recognize, right? Recognize or differentiate between a whole foods diet and a traditional standard American diet.
Yeah.
Okay? Does that make sense, you guys?
Yes.
Okay. So if it's a knowledge-based measurement for what you want them to know, these are examples of words that you'll use as learning objectives, right? Action words.
Okay.
So let's go to the next one. Comprehension. Let's say you want them to understand something, like you want to know that they understand it. So in order to know that they understand it, you're going to ask them to do things like summarize for you, right? You're going to ask them to do things like explain or interpret or demonstrate. These things will show or indicative that the person is actually comprehending what you're teaching. Okay? This is really important, especially for those of you who have courses that are performance-based courses where you are expecting the person to change their behavior. Okay? You're expecting them to change their behavior, then these are great words to use to demonstrate that they've actually changed that behavior. Now, we'll talk later, we'll talk some more about ways that they can demonstrate that, right? That's where the interactivity comes from. That's where the assessment comes from within your course. Okay? But right now we're just talking about where we want them to go. Okay? So, all right, let's move to the next one. If you guys don't have questions, hopefully this is all coming together for you and making more sense. So let's go to the next one. So let's just say that your goal is to get them to apply something, right? You want them to apply what they learned. Then the words underneath application, these are great words, examples of words that you can use for those skill sets that would require application. Okay? So let's just say you want them to learn how to read a food label. Excuse me, I'm sorry. To learn how to read a food label, right?
Yeah.
So you are going to perhaps tell them, Lynette, to apply the principles of, I don't know, calorie counting to food labels. I don't know. I'm making it up because I have no idea about that subject. But that's an example of using an action word under the application category because you actually want them to apply something or a concept that you've taught them. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
So the same thing with analysis, right? So we're looking at analysis, and if you want them to analyze something, Jen, you have your grant writing class, you want them to analyze something. These are great examples of starter learning objective words, action words that indicate that they will be analyzing something. Okay, and so sometimes it's like hard to come up with these words or you're not sure. So this is a great cheat sheet to help you to come up with those action words, right? That tells the learner, hey, this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do it. So the next one is synthesize, right? So these are great words for if you want them to bring together ideas some kind of way. Or bring together concepts. So they're going to design, hypothesize, support. So these are all great words for if you're wanting them to bring together something for a specific end, like a report here. So you're going to report on something, or you're going to write something, or you're going to justify. It's bringing all those things together. right? And then, oh yeah, that's right. Jen told me she'd have to leave early. Okay, so evaluate. So same thing. If there is a course objective where you want them to actually evaluate something that you're showing them, then these are great words under evaluate to teach them how to do that. So what I wrote here is keep in mind that your learning objectives should start with an action word. That's very, very important, okay? So that your learner knows how they will apply the skill that they are learning. How will they know what success looks like, right? How will they know what success looks like? This is the key of how monetization is tied in, right? If you understand the purpose of a learning objective, then you'll understand you'll understand how you can take them from what they should know and how they'll learn it to whether or not they were actually successful at that. Okay, that's the whole thing. Were they successful at listing, identifying, recognizing, manipulating, distinguishing, writing, all of these things? So it starts with the learning objective because they have to know what they're measuring their success against, right? So they have to be able to say at some point during your class, was I able to summarize? Was I able to recognize? Was I able to evaluate, support, design, explain? Was I able to show that level of success? If the answer is no, I wasn't, then you'll know what direction to take them down to further monetize that particular class and that particular individual, okay? So one of the things that I was saying that I learned by working for companies like SkillPath and all these other companies is that you want to do perceptive selling, right? So they taught us this, that your learning objectives is your way of helping you, giving you leverage to perceive whether or not they have gotten the concepts, and if they haven't gotten the concepts, right, to be able to show them where they haven't gotten it. See, remember that adults have to come to conclusions on their own. That's adult learning theory. You can't tell an adult what they know or don't know, right? They have to say, wow, I don't know that. Or I don't know that as well as I thought I did, right? So you have to help them come to that conclusion. And the way to help them come to that conclusion is to show them that in this class, you were supposed to learn, or by the end of this class, you were supposed to be able to summarize, design, evaluate, show, recall, demonstrate, classify, whatever your learning objectives are. You were supposed to be able to do that.
Okay.
Can you demonstrate that? Okay. If the answer is no, then guess what? Then you need a webinar, you need one-on-one coaching, and see, by having a learning objective, you can actually kind of like show them where they're falling short. Okay. So you don't have to depend on, oh, well, I got to convince them that they're falling short, right? You're not going to convince them. You're not evangelizing. You're not, oh, you should get this one-on-one after my course. You should do this. You should. Okay. Your goal is to get them to come to the conclusion on their own. How do you get adults to come to these conclusions on their own? You go back to the learning objectives and you make them show you, and we're gonna get into interactivity and analysis and all of that, right? And assessments. But you are going to absolutely show them where they didn't get it.
Okay.
You're gonna show them where they got it, right? And if they got it, right, then you can move them to the next level. right? Then you can say, yay, you're awesome, you got it, you're ready to move to the next level, right? So there, it leaves no question that they are ready for your next level of growth for them.
Okay.
So it takes that question off the table. So guess what else it takes off the table? It takes the objection off the table.
Okay.
Okay? You getting it?
Yep.
Okay? So it takes the objective off the table. So if you have a basic class and now you want them to get into the master class, right?
Right.
Show them that they've actually succeeded. Don't tell them they succeeded. Show them they've succeeded. How do you show them that they've succeeded? You go back to the learning objective and you say, you were able to summarize, explain, you were able to estimate, organize, show, define, visualize, state, whatever you're asking them to do.
Right.
Got it? Make sense?
Got it.
There you go.
Wow.
Boom, bam, pow.
All right.
Okay, boom, bam, pow. So that's that's why learning objectives for monetization, that's why it's so important what you have here for your learning objective, because you're going to go back to it and you're going to actually show people that, hey, you either fell short here or you really knocked it out the park and you're ready for the next level.
Right.
Either way, you've got your evidence to move them somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So for adults, you need evidence to move them, evidence to move them, evidence to move them. All right, make sense?
For adults, you need evidence to move them.
Yes, you need evidence to move them. You have to show them. You can't just tell them, you're ready for this or do this. No, you have to show them. Right? So just like on Periscope, right? When you're getting people to come into your class and they're like, I don't necessarily, I already kind of know how to build a course. I don't really need that, until you start talking about concepts, right? Mm-hmm. Can you evaluate this? Can you design that? Can you identify, show, manipulate, apply, modify? And they're like, oh, well, no, not really. Then you're like, okay, well, then you need to get into my class.
Okay.
So you see how you have to show them, not tell them?
Yeah.
Okay. And then they have to come to that conclusion on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So now let's look at, Ayana, are you still there? Are you there, but we just can't see you?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, awesome. Questions, Ayana?
Yes.
Do you have questions? Are you getting this? Are you feeling this?
Yes, I'm getting it. With the action words, do you have examples? I know you said some, but do you have like a list of different ones?
Yes, I have it. You just can't see it, but it's in your portal.
Okay. I'm on my phone. I just got in from Miami, so I'm gonna see if I can transfer over to my computer so I can see it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. Okay, no problem. So it's in your lesson 2 downloads. That whole list of cheat sheet learning objectives.
Okay, wonderful.
So the main thing is I wanted you all to know how to use learning objectives to help you monetize and go to the next level. I don't want you to just think about it willy-nilly. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't think about it willy-nilly. And that's why your roster is so important. Okay.
Roster.
So your roster for your class is important. Like, it's important to know who's in your class.
Okay.
So every time, like before a class, I go through the roster, because that tells me, and hopefully you guys are doing questionnaires or surveys of your people before they get into your class. So like you did for this class, remember, you had to do like a little form that told me what class you wanted to teach, what it was going to be about. Remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You all need something similar. That's your roster. That tells you what perceptive selling. Remember that? So that tells you what potentially that person will need from you. Okay. So you are formulating a picture, right, of what you're going to sell. Literally, like after a class, I go through and I can say, okay, one-on-one coaching for this stack, affiliate sales for this stack. I can say webinar for this stack. I can say master class for this stack. Well, you know what I'm saying? And you can literally like put a dollar amount on those sheets, because you know what you're going to sell them next.
Okay.
Right? And it's completely, in fact, it's not only beneficial for you, it's beneficial for your learner, right? Because you ensure that they get what they need. You're not just putting them all in a basket and saying, everybody needs to go to my master class. No, you don't. Don't try to do that. I'm telling you guys. When I was in these classes, when I was teaching for Skill Path and Rockhurst and Fred Pryor and all these people, one of the things that they taught us was to be patient.
Okay.
Like, don't feel like, I know, like, it's especially like on Periscope, it's make the money. Slow down. Be patient, right? You're going to make the money, but you want longevity, right? Like Ashley was saying on the scope today, you want long money. Okay.
Right.
So in order to get long money, you have to develop a relationship, and you have to keep making sure that your folks understand that they can trust you, right? They're not going to trust you if you just shoving stuff down their throats that don't apply to them, or it doesn't fit with their skill set. Maybe they didn't get what they needed, right? So you're not going to sell your master class to somebody who doesn't need it. You're going to sell them like a webinar, or you're going to sell them some one-on-one coaching, right? So like, don't be worried about, don't worry about trying to get everybody to move to your highest level product, because everybody may not be there. And you want to have integrity in your selling. You know what I'm saying? So the best way to do that is to let people self-select, right? And your learning objective helps people to self-select, right? So you can say, if you got this, if you were able to summarize, explain, interpret, compare, support, estimate, blah, 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 then you are ready for the masterclass.
That's good. That's really
You see that?
Mm-hmm.
And it lets people self-select and come to it on their own.
Right.
If you weren't able to, or you're a little shaky in some areas, not to worry. Sign up for my one-on-one coaching, okay? And because you were in this class, you're going to get a discount just because you came to this class, because I want to make sure that you get it. You see? Now you've earned the trust.
Right.
Okay? And you've done it with integrity. This is why these companies have been around for so long, because they're patient, okay? Because eventually your one-on-one person is going to get it, and then they'll go to your master class.
Right.
And actually you've made more money, because now you've made money on the master class plus their one-on-ones. So it doesn't benefit you to try to push them, okay? Let them self-select. All right, now, okay, so now let me just pull up a quick PowerPoint just to kind of demonstrate a few things in particular. So, all right. Okay, so we're talking about monetizing your course objectives, which is kind of like next level course building. But because you guys acted early, I went ahead and threw it in this course, this boot camp. Okay, but it won't be in this. It won't be in the basic class. After probably the next one. After the next one, it won't be in that class. This 101 class. So yeah. So because this is next level stuff. This goes beyond just building your course, right? So the purpose of objectives, right? We already know what the purpose of objectives are. We already know that they are to tell your learners what and how they are going to learn your topic, right? We already know that they tell them what they are expected to learn as a result of your class. And we also know that objectives prime your learners for upsells. They prime your learners for upsells. That's what they do. Okay? If you use them that way. So they don't know that's what you're doing, right? Or they don't know that that's the measurement that you're going to use to upsell or sell them laterally, right? But that's what you're going to do. So the format. So we know that the learning objective is actionable. That's why it starts with an action word, right? Because it's something that they can take action on and show a measurable result.
Okay.
It's direct. It's to the point. Don't go all around the Mayberry bush. Your learning objective should not be on 2 lines, right? It should just be a few words, very direct. It should be concise, right? It should tell them exactly what they're going to learn line by line. There shouldn't be a lot of ands, ors. You know, if you're tying together, if it's a big compound sentence, more than likely you need to break up that learning objective, maybe make it 2 separate ones. These should be very concise. They should be brief, 3 to 5, as I mentioned before, 3 to 5 per course. Because really, you know, when we start talking about chunking your information, if you have more than that, remember that, you know, you have to accommodate people's like attention spans. Okay, so we don't want long objectives all over the place. You might need to break that down. All right, so let's kind of look at this for just a second. So you have a goal, right, for your learners. Your learners you want them to, for example, like Ayana, give me your goal. What's your goal for your learners? What do they need to be able to do?
They'll be able to identify their next steps, professionally and personally. Able to take action, so they will start their first step. So there'll be action on, and they will not be afraid while they're doing it, or they'll know how to manage their anxiety and fears around that first step.
And I like that. I like how you change that around to an action. Manage, right? So we'll have to look at, you know, exactly what that looks like, right? So here's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about, okay, so you have your goals for your learners. You have your learning objectives, right, that are wrapped around that goal. So now what I want you to think about is the skill set, the skill set that is needed to accomplish that goal. Okay. What are the skills that they will need to acquire in order to identify, manage, define, regulate, evaluate, whatever? Okay. So those skill sets are going to make up the modules that you put together. The skill sets. And we'll talk more about that this week. Okay. So we're not going to get too deep into that, but I wanted to tie it into the learning objectives, right?
Okay.
Because the skill set, right, that you want them to learn is tied to the actions that they are going to take in order to accomplish that. Those actions, right, are your learning objectives. The actions are your learning objectives. What exactly will they be able to do?
Okay.
So how are we tying that into monetization? Well, those actions are tied to the next steps and what they need to actually accomplish those actions. So I want you to think of monetization 2 different ways, right? So one way is what we talked about, which is after their class, where are you taking them next, right? Where are you taking them next? The other way I want you to think about monetization is within the course itself, with the actions that they will need to take to acquire the skill set. What support mechanism do they need in order to be successful at that action? What do they need to be successful? So you have the confines of your course, right? Which is an hour, 2 hours, however long it is, right? 30 minutes, whatever. You have the confines of your course, but guess what? There are other things that you're going to recommend to help them outside of the course to actually be successful at accomplishing that goal. So for example, the actions that they need to take to be successful, what of these things might they need? Okay. So for example, affiliate sales, right? What do they need to buy in order to be ultimately successful in your course? Okay. You get me? So it might be books.
That's a good one, the affiliate sales. I was just putting together my Amazon affiliate store, just kind of sectioning it off into like books, things like kitchen tools, like every healthy person, should have. Also ingredients, because I get a lot of questions in my scopes about, well, where do I buy this? Where do I buy that? I don't have this. So I figured,
Exactly. So what do they need? And that's the monetization piece, right? That it's based on, okay, what do you need in order to be successful at completing this action or acquiring this skill set? You're going to need the right ingredients. You're going to need the right cooking tools. You're going to need the right books. You're going to need the right coaching, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. So this is a way to tie in the goals of the class to what they need to be successful. Make sense?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you need those goals of the class, right? In order for people to do what? Come to their own
conclusion.
There you go. There you go. So when you have the learning objectives, your next step in monetizing is pretty doggone easy. Because you've given them a way to come to their own conclusion. And then guess what? You're not even selling. It's not even like a hard thing to do. You're not even pushing anything. You're just saying, here's some resources that you can use to help you be successful at acquiring this skill set.
I'm sorry. Quick question. Yeah. So when do you communicate the goals? Like, I know if I understand correctly, the learning objective is the actions they need to take, right?
That's right.
When do you express the goal? Do you express it in the learning objective, or do you express it at another time in terms of?
Right there in the beginning. Okay. At the time that you open the class, right? Okay. So you're going to say, welcome. Okay. Give me the name of your class again.
Let's say How to Live Courageously.
Okay. Welcome to How to Live Courageously. I am so excited for you all because what you are going to learn is how to take every step toward your goal without fear. Mm-hmm. That's your overreaching goal. Okay? Right? Okay. Then you're going to say, by the time you're done with this class, you are going to know how you are going to be able to identify, evaluate, learn, define, all of those action words, right? You're going to be able to do that. And you're going to have 3 to 5 of those.
Got it. Okay.
And then the rest of your class is really helping them to acquire the skill set in order to do that.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I get it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yes. So it's a short goal. It's just a quick overreaching goal.
That's right. It's an overreaching goal. It's the reason that they signed up for your class. It's the reason they signed up in the first place.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay. So questions. Do you all feel confident? Do you feel like it's coming together?
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of like it's piece by piece. It's building blocks.
Can you give an example of a skill set like that, that each, I guess that's the.
Sure. So let's say, for example, your, okay, let's use, just because I don't really know you all's, your business, your topic, but let's just use something that I don't know, I know a little bit more about. Not much. Oh God, don't tell Jen, she'll kill me, okay? But let's just say, for example, the grant writing, right? So the action that she's going to have them take is they're going to be able to identify, evaluate, I don't know, manage and curate. I have no idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she has to come up with some skills that they will have to acquire in order to show that they've actually done those action things, right? So what skill set do they need to know how to do? Maybe they need to know how to do research.
Writing.
That's right. Maybe they need to know how to read an application. Maybe they need to know how to interpret a response to that application, right? A skill set is something that people do not inherently know how to do, that they actually have to practice, right? That they actually have to work at, basically. It's a skill as opposed to a task, all right? So that's a really important distinction. So instead of just telling people what to do, right? Like pull out a piece of paper, fill out this application. Those are tasks, right? And so most people get stuck in the task because they don't have the skill set to perform the task. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you want people to actually develop a skill, something that they couldn't do before, that they can do now, that you're actually teaching them and giving them an opportunity to practice.
Okay.
So this is really important, especially when you're trying to get people to change their behavior.
Right.
You're teaching them a skill that later on in the course, you're going to show them how to apply.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah. Now, do you communicate what skill set they're going to learn?
No.
No.
Only the action, the learning objectives. That's what you communicate to them up front.
Okay. So the skill set is just what you do.
The skill set is just what you do. And that's the part that we're going to we're moving toward this week with the content and putting that content together. You're actually teaching them a skill, and you're going to chunk your information based on the skill that you want them to learn.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so you all kind of see that I'm taking you all block by block, kind of step by step down this path.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this week, what I'd like for you all to do, if you can, is go ahead and concentrate on getting your narrowing down your design. Not that it has to stick that way. You can certainly change it and alter it, but I want you to kind of settle on a theme, settle on, your analogy that you're going to use, settle on your colors, settle on, just settle on sort of like a look and feel. And I know I still owe you something, Lynette. So, but go ahead and start settling on that. And I want you to start filling in the blanks. You have your title page, and you guys go back and look in week 1. I sent you all a template for how your PowerPoint, a guide for the pages in your PowerPoint, in your presentation, in your class. So it should say title page. It's going to say learning objectives. It's going to say what's in it for me. All right. So I'm going to send you all a brief explanation of the what's in it for me. But basically, it's pretty simple. Your what's in it for me statement is usually 3 to 4 things that you list out for your learners as to just like what it sounds. What's in it for them? What are they going to get out of this? And typically the what's in it for me statement speaks to the heart. It speaks to their pain. It speaks to why they really came to your class, right? So your what's in it for me is not so much technical. It's more heart-based, okay? It's more like,
it's like emotional.
There you go. Yeah, it's definitely more emotional, based on the emotional reasons that they came.
Like for your class, it would be procrastinating.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Like you'll finally get that course built. You'll finally you'll have the satisfaction of knowing that you're helping others with your knowledge and your skill. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's start moving your needle toward, let's get past these preliminary sort of slides because we're getting ready to get into the meat of your content soon, because you're going to need some time to build that out. So I'll be sending you, that's going to be lesson 3, but I'm going to give it to you this week. I'm going to give you lesson 3 this week, ahead of week 3, even though it's not really like a lesson per week. It's more like lessons as you need them, right? So it's time for lesson 3 after this. So try to get to this point in your presentation. By the time we have our one-on-ones this week, I'd like to see your title page, your learning objectives page, your what's in it for me page, so that we can go ahead and start moving forward, getting into the content and how we're actually going to lay that out.
Okay.
Cool.
Now these forms, all these forms and stuff that you've given us, that's on Kajabi.
Yep. It's in your portal. Okay. So yeah. So oh goodness, an hour goes fast, you guys, really fast. So that's all the content I have. Are there any other questions or anything I can answer for you guys? Or how are you feeling? Let me take the temperature real quick.
Good. It's just putting it together, but I mean, I feel like we have a good foundation. You know, it's been laid out for us, and it's understandable. So it's just getting it together.
Okay, awesome.
I feel like it's good. I am thinking about, because, you know, I'll show you my face.
Thanks.
Hey.
Hello.
Sort of weird not seeing myself, but anyway, I just came back, so I'm working fast. But anyway, it's cool because I'm thinking about my course. You know, I have some stuff and I already taught it as a webinar. So I have the pieces, and so now I'm like reworking them, throwing them out, adding other things. So it's good because it helps me build like the blocks. Like this block is important, this block isn't, you know. So for me, it's good. And then part of me is like, should I just start over and have those pieces there if I need to fill them in? Like just the best way to go about building it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. So when we get to the piece about content, when we have your one-on-one this week, Ayanna, we're going to start looking, because you already had some content, so you're a little bit further ahead with that. So, you know, that's why, I'm going to put that lesson 3 up there, because I want to start organizing your content. Okay. So you already have everything together. It's a matter of, and the first building block are those learning objectives. What you say people are going to learn from your class.
Yeah.
And then we're going to build on that. What skill sets do they need, right? And we're going to separate it out, put all the relevant information. But you'll see how we're going to. It's all going to come together. It should already be starting to gel a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I like what you just taught us tonight, because I'm literally thinking about it like puzzle pieces, and then I'm asking questions as I like, oh, okay. So this is good. I like how you set it up because now, yeah, it just helped.
Good, good,
But
good.
so that's good.
Awesome, awesome. So hopefully it gave you some really good ideas as to how you can monetize, a couple of different ways to think
Yeah.
about it. Yeah. So you think
Is
about it in a whole new way, right?
Yeah, I do. Is the assessment, because that's my question, is like, it's important for me to know where people are before they start, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I want to do it kind of like I was telling you, like a la carte, and then some people I know will want to go through the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to do an assessment first to see kind of like, this is what I recommend that you take, or this is how I recommend you go through the process.
Well,
So
here's what you're going to do. Remember that you're going to let them self-select. So what's going to happen is you're going to write your assessment. We're going to do a whole piece on assessments, okay? You are going to do a self-selection assessment.
Okay.
So what that means is after they answer these 10 questions, if you answered yes to any of these questions or 3 out of 10 of these questions, this is where, you know what I'm saying? This is what it means. This is what it means. This is what it means. If you answered no to this, if you answered yes to this, if you answered, I don't know, you get the picture, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to say, oh gosh, I answered 7 out of 10 of those with no. Okay, which one do I need? Oh gosh, okay, I need all of them. Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Oh yeah, I like that. I love that idea.
Yeah, they come to their own conclusion.
Yeah.
Because if you tell them, then it's, well.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be so helpful, like to figure out how to do that. Because that would be perfect for me, and I love infographics. So if it was like, did you answer yes here? Did you answer no here? Okay, you need this. You know what I mean? Like the visual.
Exactly. Doesn't it make it so much easier?
Yes, that would be so. Oh my, I love that idea. That's so awesome.
Yes. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, you guys. So if there aren't any more questions, we are done for the night. I am going to stop the recording, and I will have this up in your portal in the next 24 hours or so. I guess they'll put it up in there for you. We'll make sure it's in there so you can go back and refer to it, and all of that for as long as you need to. Okay. So good session, you guys.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yay! Get some sleep, Lynette, and you too, Ayana.
I will. I'm tired.
Hard weekend of partying.
Yeah.
Right, but it was cool.
Miami, huh? Miami.
Okay, you guys, get some rest. Reach out to me if you need me, okay?
Will do.
Okie dokie. Have a great night. Thanks, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.